So tonight we're playing Fist. It's a pretty simple system. I just want to go over those rules real quick. Pretty much everything you do, you're going to roll 2d6 and add them together. It's sort of like a Powered by the Apocalypse system style game if you've played one of those, but it doesn't have moves. You just always roll 2d6 plus something, and then we compare it to the usual ranges. 6 or below is a failure, 7 to 9 is a partial success, 10 or above is a full success. And if you roll double sixes, that's a critical or an ultra success in this game. Pretty normal Powered by the Apocalypse style rolls, but like I said, there's no specific moves. It's all just one basically defy danger style move where you're just trying to avoid consequences of some kind or succeed without consequences and so on. So we don't have to remember all the different crazy rules and stuff. Pretty simple. Normally you just roll 2d6, but you can always ask me if one of your attributes applies. Maybe you want to say, hey, can I add my tactical bonus to this? And so on and so forth. I don't believe you can add multiple of your bonuses, but maybe if it really makes a lot of sense, you could do it. You'd probably have to argue for it, but we could probably get there. But yeah, you'll notice most of your stats that were rolled on your characters here were not very high, but that's pretty normal. The bonuses in this game don't get very high. So even having a +1 can be pretty helpful. Because you'll notice the average roll on a 2d6 should be about a 7. And even just getting that 7 is a partial success, so adding any to that means you're more likely than not to succeed, even if you have some consequences along the way. There's no real initiative system in this. Again, it works very similar to like a Powered by the Apocalypse or Forged in the Dark system. If we get into danger, we just treat things fairly logically. We roll with the fiction and let that influence who does what action when. But most of the time, enemies will only be acting if one of you rolls a failure or a complication on a partial success, something like that. Although, depending on the situation, if it makes a lot of sense, I might have the enemies act first. Maybe they got the drop on you, or maybe they're a really powerful enemy. We'll roll with it as it goes. That's like pretty much the entire basics of the system. Some of your equipment may have more rules, like if you have a weapon. Generally, you'll have to roll to hit with the weapon using whatever skill makes sense, and then your weapon will have a damage die, or maybe multiple damage dice, and you'll roll those for damage, and I'll be tracking that for the enemies. But you'll probably notice your hit points are rather low, especially compared to how powerful weapons can be. You might see weapons ending up being like 2d6 and stuff, and you may only have 6 HP. So it's a pretty lethal system, which is why we have emergency insertion rules, in which dying in the middle of the mission doesn't mean you have to sit back and watch everyone else play. We'll just roll you a new character, and that's why we've used this Discord bot, Sonder, to randomly generate characters, because you can just immediately randomly generate your new character and pop into things that way. Rolling emergency insertion is a table we roll on, but it is just another 2d6 roll. You might be able to add a bonus to it if you think it applies like any other roll, but instead of a normal, success, partial success, all of that, there's another table we actually look at to see what kind of complications might have turned up during that. But it's the same kind of idea, you want to roll higher, that's better, and so on and so forth. Yes. The what bot? Oh, I mean, we can do that. Yeah, I think it's like player emergency insertion. Let me just roll one real quick for that, like for example. So that did a 10, and it just says right there, right away, deploy with an extra standard issue item because I rolled high enough. So maybe you could describe yourself dropping in with like an extra pistol or a med pack or something. All that kind of stuff. I think there may even be... That's fine. I know there are ways to roll on like equipment tables and stuff for the spot, but I am not good at using it. So we have a couple commands to use at least, but we can kind of roll with whatever other equipment you might get. Rolling a 10 is pretty unlikely, but it could happen, so never know. The only other real rule I think is worth bringing up this early is that once per mission, you all can agree to a rendezvous signal, which is essentially like a short rest. But you can only do it once per mission, and you recover a bit of HP. It's well, you actually have an option. You pick one from a list of 3 options. You can recover a little bit of HP. It would be a D6 of HP. You can refill one of your pieces of equipment, like maybe you're out of ammo on a rocket launcher or something. You want to get a new rocket. Or you can ask for a piece of intel about the mission once per player. So there's some options for backing off a little bit, taking a rest, calling into HQ, trying to figure things out. Picking up the gear that you had planted ahead of time, whatever. That's what the rendezvous is for. But I think that's pretty much it for rules. Other things that may come up, we can explain when we get to them. Any questions so far, especially about your character sheets that you've rolled? All right. Yes, absolutely. It is a very kind of off the rails crazy game. And we'll just, yeah, things will happen. None of it will be planned probably, and I just have basically a sandbox of stuff prepped here to run you through. So, but you do have a goal, and we'll go over that now. I sent a briefing document earlier. You don't need to read all of it, but if you're curious about any of the details involved, you can see a few things there. And I'm going to go ahead and read the incoming transmission that kicks off this whole event, the message you were sent by the benefactor who is sponsoring you on this mission. We open with radio static, which cuts into a voice speaking. Don't know if you've ever been to an auction before, but I promise they're not normally this complicated. The midnight train is carrying a who's who of officious scumbags, all trying to get their hands on some big ticket items, guarded by even bigger, heavily armed scumbags. Now, I could just sit there and place a bid like a good boy, but hiring you was much, much cheaper. His coughing is interrupted by more static as he fades away. Sorry. Time is of the essence. That goes without saying. But do me a favor and don't go killing just anybody. The buyers on board represent some of my best contacts. Not to mention, little old me will be in attendance, and I'm your way out. Just give me the mask and take your pick of whatever else you might find in there. I'm sure there'll be some level of security. Worth it for the kind of shit this train is supposed to be carrying. A win-win for us, wouldn't you say? But the mask is mine. Got that? It's mine. And then there's a click as the transmission cuts out. So this transmission made its way to Fist. And you all were selected for the mission specifically for your talents that may come in handy here. Some of you have some specific skills that will come in handy, and you are elite Fist operatives. You've been provided with an armored black sedan whose nickname is Bad Boy, and this is the pride and joy of the man who sponsored this mission, who will be referred to as the Dying Man. The Bad Boy sedan is heavily armored, including bulletproof sunroof. It's got reinforced carbon fiber everywhere, causing it to be armored. And the doors can be detached to give you more room if needed. It's a very tactical vehicle, though it looks like a sedan on the outside. And if you really need some speed, you can hit the NOS. You are tasked to retrieve the Mask of Eden, a very strange mask. You're not really sure exactly what it does, but this dying man has asked you to retrieve it for him, and he is paying you an enormous amount of money, an amount of money that will make Fist, well, it'll make your resource acquisitions much, much easier in the future. And hey, if any of your characters wanted to retire, this could be a great way to do it. You'll have to get this mask from a train, because there is a secret auction happening on board a train that is called the Midnight Train, and it is basically a mobile fortress. It is made of technology potentially none of you have ever seen before, technology that isn't public knowledge yet. Crazy, crazy advanced stuff for this Cold War era setting. But that's spycraft. The Midnight Train, you do know, is operated by a private organization named Talaria. You may have heard that name a few times, just working as mercenaries under Fist, but they always specialize in ancient artifacts, whether they actually hold any power or they're just extremely rare and odd collector's items. They always manage to seem to get their hands on them, and they always have the best security. So they have clients amongst the richest, the wealthiest, and the most powerful people in the world. You all are set up outside a location that the dying man has informed you this midnight train should be passing by. He's provided you with a sedan and a bunch of extra gear in the trunk of the vehicle. So the two of you are currently seated on this vehicle, or maybe on either inside the vehicle, staking things out from the inside, or outside the vehicle, sitting on the hood, wherever you are. You're somewhere near this vehicle, and you're somewhere in the wilderness on the coast, the western coast, I should say, of Mexico, waiting for this train to pass by what should be a completely abandoned railway. Who are your characters, and what do they look like? What are they doing? Well, let's start with Liam. Ooh, hold on. I may have fucked something up. I apologize. I think only my mic is on the stream right now. Oopsies. There we go. All right, now you can talk. Rip the music I was playing.
Technical difficulties.
We love technical difficulties. Yes.
Okay. I guess my guy probably looks like probably some sort of a marine type person, because he seems to be a healer, but he's also good at forceful stuff and interrogation. He's got a combat knife. He's got probably wearing some of the clothes of the bodyguards, because he's probably heard it, and I have an enemy uniform.
All right, and Yara, what's your character look like?
Midnight is a big beefcake of a man. He's been spliced with shark DNA, so he's got a real friendly smile and just blacked out eyes. Kind of like, he's got one of those necks where it just kind of like merges with his shoulders. He's wearing kind of all black combat gear.
Something I just noticed on your sheet as well, Liam, is you have 6 war dice, and these are something I did not explain at the start. They are bonus dice, but they are consumables. You may want to keep track of them, and they are tied to your character. So if you're rolling on a check, you could roll, say, I want to consume a war die, and then roll 3d6 instead of 2d6. You can also give them to other players when they roll. So the team essentially has a group of 6 war dice.
Okay, yeah, I remember we kept track of that.
Yes, so you have 6 of them. You rolled max, because depending on how your character rolls, they can get 1d6 war dice, so that's very lucky.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah. So you two are in front of the car. We'll skip over whatever chatter you may have had, because you can now see the train approaching. It's extremely difficult to see, because the train is painted pitch black, and currently the moon is not out. So without the equipment you were given in order to see it, and without being notified of its arrival at the exact time it would arrive, you might not have even seen it drive by. It's very quiet for a train, it's very hard to see, and the surface of it seems to even not really like have much reflection to it. It's a very like matte black paint, so that driving by in the darkness of night is very difficult to see on its own. But you do see the silhouettes, since you were looking for it ahead of time. So I will pop this in the Discord. And when we refer to cars, let's refer to them by number. You can see that most of the cars are pretty much the same silhouette and look like almost identical from the outside, except for the first, last, and middle car. The first one, which is number 6, is the locomotive pulling everything along. The middle car, number 3, appears to have a gun of some kind mounted on top. And the very last car is a little smaller than the rest. That's really the main difference. It's not quite the same box shape, but yeah, you're not sure what's different about it except for its shape, but it is different. So, you are warned that by the time you see this vehicle, you would have a very narrow window of 2 hours before it reaches its final destination. The auction is complete, and all the occupants would be transported to their own homes. You have 2 hours now to track down the Mask of Eden and get ready to escape with the Dying Man, who will provide you transport out if you can manage to actually get the Mask of Eden securely. The Dying Man is inside the vehicle as one of the patrons of the auction, but you've been warned ahead of time. You won't be able to tell who's who in there, so be careful not killing any patrons. So, obviously, if the Dying Man dies, you will not have exfiltration ready, unless you can find your own way out to safely escape. Your 2-hour timer begins now, and this will be 2 hours of real time. Once that timer is up, the train will arrive. And by real time, I mean our time, not in-game time. So, you may begin. You have your vehicle. What do you do?
Punch it. Get us up close. And Midnight will produce a rocket launcher from the back seat and start getting out of the sunroof and aiming at that gun car, because we have been forewarned.
Absolutely. So you start pulling the car up. I'm not going to make you drive for it just yet, make you roll for it just yet, but your car can reach a top speed of 100 miles per hour, whereas the train is currently going about 80. So you fairly quickly catch up to it. You pull up alongside it, and you can indeed see that mounted gun swivels down to point directly at you. You do have the initiative here, though, so if you want to roll to try and shoot your weapon first, I will allow that.
Yes, I do. No. Gotta find where the dice are again. Hold on, sorry.
No worries. All right.
Yeah, that's a 4.
So you pull up close. You try to aim your rocket at the vehicle, but unfortunately,
I get one war die.
Sure, yeah. I don't think the rules say anything about when they have to be consumed, so I'll allow it. So you can roll 1 extra d6. And see if that turns it into... Well, if you roll a 6, it could be a full success.
Real is not a command. Ah, boo.
Alright, still a failure, unfortunately. 1 war die down. So, you're trying to keep the car steady, or I'll say, actually, Fade Out is trying to keep the car steady as you get closer, but it's uneven terrain out here. It's not like you're driving on flat pavement or anything, and unfortunately you hit a bump just as Midnight is trying to aim the rocket launcher, and the rocket goes sailing over the top of the vehicle, and then the machine gun on the vehicle starts to spin up. And so I think both Midnight and the vehicle are going to take some damage from the bullets of this machine gun. And I need to double check the actual damage of the machine gun. I'm just going to estimate it since we are on a time crunch here. 2d6. I rolled maximum damage. So, midnight might not be long for this world, unfortunately.
He might have gone out in the midnight.
He might have gone out in the midnight, yes. So, you pull up alongside this thing, and the machine gun kicks into gear. You don't have time to fire the rocket; it goes over the top. Like all these things are going wrong already, and so fade out. You are inside the vehicle as you just hear bullets firing, like raining along the top of the car, and the car is bulletproof, but unfortunately, Midnight is not. So Midnight, that is going to be 12 damage. You reduce it by your armor. Okay, so Midnight is riddled with bullets, and this poor shark hybrid dies. What do you do? What do you do, Fade Out? I'm gonna forget these names every time. And the car also takes a bit of damage from this. The interior is bulletproof, but the car can only reduce the damage by so much. You got a dead shooter on top of your car, Fade Out. What are you gonna do to try and get closer to the train? Or are you gonna, like, what's the plan?
Crap, I was muted.
Oh.
Do we have any information on which car is which, or do we have just the silhouettes?
You have the silhouettes.
Is there any space that seems like it's easy for me to try to jump onto the train?
Sure, I'll give you to that. As you drove up, you probably saw a little bit. I mean, the machine gun does not appear to be automated. There is a person sitting in it that you can see. So there's an option there that probably leads down. While you were driving up to catch up to the train, you saw that the last car had a door on the back that you could potentially, like, drive up to the back, leap onto the caboose, and climb in that way. Strangely, the actual locomotive that is pulling the whole train, it appears to not even have windows. It's a completely sheer outer surface, no doors, no windows, sealed off entirely. Okay. So those are your two obvious options. The connections between the cars are clearly, like, heavily armored material stretching between the two cars. So yeah. You try to get in that way, it would just be tough. Yeah.
I will, I guess, attempt to try to get onto the back of the train.
All right. So you pull the car back as the machine gun fire rattles against the roof of the car, and you just slam on the brakes to move to the back of the train. The machine gun can no longer quite reach you at the location you've placed yourself. You're still driving the car. How are you going to get from the car to the train?
Can I try to position Midnight's body so it's pressing the accelerator?
Oh my god. Yes, I love that. Absolutely. Do you want to add something to this roll? Are you like, I mean, that sounds like you could do...
Tactical?
Sure, tactical works for me, as you, like, tactically wedge the car ready to drive so you can leap out of it.
Why is the dice not working?
Tactically position a 400-pound shark man.
I will say, since we're not using a foundry system built for this, physical dice might be easier, but, you know, if you want to use the foundry ones, that's fine.
So when it says +1 tactical, I roll and just add 1?
Yes, so 2d6 plus 1.
Okay, that's a 6.
Okay, so that is also a failure, unless you want to spend a war die.
I will spend a war die.
All right. Let's see how high it gets.
No, that's a 7.
Okay, 7.
I rolled a 1 on a...
Yes. So you got a 7. That becomes a partial success, at least. So you pull up to the back of the train. You get Midnight pressed against the accelerator so that you can leap. You climb, like, the doors are detachable, so you detach the driver's side door, climb out onto the hood. As it gets closer to the train, right as it catches up to the train and, like, rear ends it, you leap onto the back of the train. But unfortunately, right as you do, you hear the entire train, like, rapidly slow down, like the brakes were hit, and a thud sound up ahead as you see a carcass of some kind of animal fly off to the side that the driver clearly tried to reactively brake for, but obviously you can't slow down a train that quickly. And so you land, and like you land really hard. You maybe twist your ankle a little bit as the train suddenly lurches as you try to land. So you're going to take 2 points of damage. But you do manage to land on the back.
Okay, I'm just gonna open a
notepad or something.
Microsoft Word.
Works, whatever works. All right, and then let's roll in, emergency insertion for this new host character we've got here. Just roll 2d6, or you can use the command for it, either way. I think there is a
normal.
Boy, normally, okay. So what makes sense here? Maybe you, I don't know. Maybe you paraglide in. You're deployed from above, or something like that.
Well, I've got my web shooters, so I think I'm
true.
web shooting, Spider-Manning, weird holy Spider-Manning along next to the train.
There you go. So you picked the perfect opportunity. Just as everyone else was deploying, you were deploying too. Maybe a separate group of Fist was deployed for this. You web sling up and you swing onto the back, landing with I'm gonna forget your name literally every time. Fade Out. Fade Out is such a weird name. Fade Out and Host now. What does Host look like? Briefly.
Host, I think Holy Spider-Man is probably a pretty good one.
Okay, I like that.
So, yeah.
Holy Spider-Man has just joined you.
So, he's got a Spidey suit, except it's covered in, like, strange, esoteric symbols instead of, like, spider motif.
All right. Perhaps here to recover some other relic aboard this vessel. There you all are. You're on the back of the train, and there's this door here. Do you just try to open it?
Yeah.
All right.
Full send.
You reach out, you grab the handle, and you just pull, and it's not locked, but it is like a tough to open door. It's clearly made so it doesn't ever accidentally open. So you just gotta really kind of shove it, and it scrapes along. But with a little bit of moderate strength, you pry open that door, and you enter this room at the back of the car.
So
Inside, you're at car 1.
Are we on car 1? Okay.
Yes. You're at car 1, the one at the very back that's a little bit different silhouette than the others. It's strange. So in here you see rows of wooden seats with what looks like a bunch of rich people dressed up, but they're all mannequins. Very strange. These mannequins dress up like rich people in wooden seats, and there is a pedestal at the other end of the room, or a podium rather, with another mannequin sitting up there, like holding up like a bunch of money and a piece of paper. This appears to be a mock version of an auction.
Not the auction.
Well, it's not in here. We got to keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, is any of them moving? Because if not, just run right through.
You can give me a roll. Do you have a tactical bonus? Does that feel like that would apply?
+1.
Yeah, try and just scan the room with a tactical real quick.
Tactical. That's a 7.
7. Okay. So you look around the room, and you're trying to touch some of the mannequins and shake them a little bit, see if any of them will move or there's anything weird about any of them. And what you do notice, unfortunately just a second too late, is that there's a bunch of very thin, very light laser sensors across the room. And you step into one of them as you see the green spot appear on your leg. And all of a sudden, a chamber in the ceiling pops open and an automatic turret drops out. So, I need each of you to give me some kind of roll to avoid gunfire, whatever you think would apply.
I'm going to roll reflexive because I can basically just gum it up with my web shooters.
Absolutely. So you want to try and counterattack?
Yes.
Awesome.
I would probably ask for forceful roll to throw a mannequin at the turret.
Okay, also counterattacking. Absolutely. You see it starting to pop out of the ceiling, and both of you just spring into action. So go ahead and give me those rolls.
That's a 6, so I'm going to roll one of my war dice.
That's a 10 for me.
All right.
And also a 10.
Excellent. So both of you get full successes. So first the web slings like hit the turret and gum it up a little bit, and it fails to fire, and it keeps getting jammed and like it's stuck in place. And then this other mannequin that was thrown just hits it from below and like kind of breaks it backwards against the joint, and it just snaps, and you see some sparks fly, and the turret is no more.
Am I able to pull it off of the roof and use it as a weapon?
It's on the other side of the car, so you could get there. You don't see like any triggers on it, but there are multiple more lasers sensors in this car still. There are 2 more.
All right, I say we avoid those.
I'm just going to stick to the walls and web sling around and not even touch the ground. Just going to stick into the ceiling almost.
Okay, I think that gets you by without a roll, since you're using a trait for it.
Are they at ground level? Like if I crawled on top of the seats, would that work?
Yeah, you could give me a roll for that. I think there's a chance a seat could like collapse under you or tip over or something. But they are at ground level, so that's an option.
Okay, what works better? Forceful or tactical for that? Probably tactical.
I think tactical, yeah.
Tactical. That's a 10.
Excellent. Okay, so no problem at all. You scamper along the tops of the seats to the other side of the car. And now you can see that there is this turret above you. It's currently sparking and stuff. Doesn't appear to be a weapon you could use. It's just like a completely robotic turret. So unless you have some sort of like hacking or computer-based skills of some kind, it might be difficult.
I mean, it's heavy enough to throw at someone.
That is true. You could rip it up and throw it at someone. That's potentially, yeah. So if your intention is to throw it, you just reach up there and rip it off, because you already kind of half broke it with the thrown mannequin before. It had to be not a terribly heavy turret to be concealed in the ceiling of this vehicle like that, but it is hefty. It's still a metal like brick in your hands, right? So that'll hurt someone if you throw it. Cool. So there is a door in front of you leading into the next car.
Is there a window on this door?
There is, yeah, just a very small one. Yeah, there's a very small window.
I want to peer through the little window before we start barging in.
Okay. So looking through the small window, you can see the other door that leads into the other car, with the small walkway between the cars. And it's pretty dark in there. There appears to be no actual lights in the passageway between cars, but you can just barely see the window on the other door over there. But it's also a small window, like only you could just kind of fit your eyes up to it. So you can see some light coming from it. And you can just barely make out like a couple details, but you can't really see the whole room. You can see what appear to be like the corners of some crates, things like that.
All right. Looks like destination's in front of us. Let's get moving. Just pop the door open.
All right. So you go to pop the door open, and as soon as you reach up to grab it and you shift it out of the way, it moves easily. It's not like jammed like the other one was. It just shifts right out of the way, but as soon as it does, you hear a beep, boop, and a bomb arms in the door frame. And so I need both of you to give me a roll to try and avoid this trapped door that you've activated.
Hey.
Okay. I don't think I have anything that can apply to this.
Neither do I. Because I don't think I have space to draw a 10-foot diameter square and declare explosions antithetical to me.
I do like that idea, but yeah, not quite enough time.
Does the door open towards us?
It's like a sliding door.
Ah, okay. I was going to say, could I try to forcefully close it, but...
I'm going to just try to quickly move through it and get through the next door.
All right, just rushing into the next room. Okay. Yep. And What are
I
you
rolled
gonna
a
do?
4. I'm gonna roll another war die.
Okay. Well, and what's your tactic? I didn't hear.
Um,
Okay, you're gonna
just kind
duck out
of
of the
dodge
way.
out of the way of the explosion.
Okay, just
Yeah, I rolled a
throwing
7,
yourself
by the way.
away. Okay, 7, and what's your war die get you to?
10. I rolled
10.
a 6 on the war die.
Okay, so you hear this beep, and I guess it was Host that opened the door. So you just throw yourself back into the chairs and miraculously get out of the way. And then you rolled a 7, Host, so you're gonna take half damage. As you throw yourself into the next room and take 2 points of damage, already halved. As like just you get like the explosion hits your back a little bit, and you got kind of like if you have like hair singed, that kind of thing. But you manage to flop into the next room, and as soon as you do, you can see that inside this room there is a guard. He's dressed in all black. He's got a balaclava on. There's like gold trim around the black gear he's wearing, and he appears to be armed. He appears to have both an assault rifle and a pistol.
Right.
He's not looking at you, but as you flop onto the floor, he turns around.
And I'll scream and just start shooting my bow of solid light that materializes in my hands.
All right. So you pull out the bow of light and go to fire at him. He immediately throws his hands up. Does that make a difference to you?
Nope.
All right. Go ahead and roll for it.
That is an 8.
An 8. Okay. So I think he throws his hands up, but as it's clear you're not going to like fully respond to that, and you continue to pull back the bow to fire, he just ducks to the floor, just like completely matrixes down, and so you're going to do half damage to him.
Okay. That's just...
It appears he is very
1d6
athletic.
damage. Plus CRE damage, whatever that is.
It's 1d6. I believe that would be plus creative if you had the creative stat.
Okay. And that would be if this was like a campaign and I gained that somewhere.
Yeah.
Or if I otherwise had it. Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
4 damage.
4 damage. Okay, so he'll take 2. So he just ducks down out of the way, and it clearly like grazes along his chest, and it hurts him bad. That's a lot of damage for this guy, but he appears very nimble and athletic. So he kind of hits the ground and then like kips back up while drawing his pistol, and so he's still a threat here, even though he's bleeding all over the place. I'll give a chance back to Fade Out. You can hear violence happening in the other room. You heard shouting. What do you want to do?
I would probably drop the gun that I have and walk into the room. How does he react to me wearing a security guard uniform? Because that's what I'm wearing right now.
Are you just wearing a security guard uniform?
Well,
Like
so I have the turncoat. So
Turncoat, okay.
at one point you belonged to an enemy faction of your choice. So
Ah.
could I have belonged to the security guard for the train?
Absolutely, I like that. So we'll say, yes, you have the enemy uniform, so you get the 1 armor and you blend in with the faction. I think that makes a lot of sense. And also, I'm supposed to give you one thing tactically important about them when you run up against them. So tactically important about these guys, they are extremely well trained, especially against close quarters combat. Bullets will get them, obviously, but if you're trying to get in there and fight with your fists, it's not going to go too well for you.
Okay. So my combat knife is not the best.
Potentially not. And you could still try it. He is pretty wounded, but I just figured I'd let you know that.
I guess when I walk in there, I can be like, "Hey, what's happening? What's going on?"
Okay, are you trying to talk him down from shooting? I think I might need a roll for that, because violence has already happened and he was drawing his weapon with the intent to fire. But I'll let you roll for it if you want to roll for it.
Yeah, I'll roll for it.
All right.
I rolled an 11.
An 11. All right, that's a full success. So he's holding the gun, still pointing it at Host, but he says, listen, I got no, I'm just like you, right? I don't recognize you here. You're clearly not. Listen, they put me on the ship post, all right? This place is a freezer, this room, and now that your adrenaline is fading maybe a tiny bit, you can feel this room is very cold, and you see that a lot of the things that are stored in here are like refrigerated goods. It's like, they put me in the freezer every damn trip. I never get to do anything fun. They always just stick me back here by myself. Listen, yeah, we can just go our separate ways. I won't do anything. I'll just leave. I'll go back to the back of the train, and I will just wait. Look for a convenient opportunity to throw myself in a passing stream or something. I don't know. I'll find some way out of this.
Do we roll anything to see if he's telling the truth?
I mean, yeah, you could roll for it if you want. You could just roll whatever you want.
I'm just gonna start wrapping him in sticky webs so he can't go anywhere or do anything.
Okay.
I rolled a 4.
Spider-Man him against the wall. Just gonna.
Yeah, yeah, he's hard to read. I'll just give you that. You're not sure. I mean, these guys are like essentially a cult is how they operate. So you don't really know if you can trust any of them with what they're saying. Like maybe they're just being extreme fanatics and willing to pretend to be turncoats, etc. But you did make it out, so maybe somebody else could make it out. You really don't get any extra information. But he is now webbed to the floor. I assume you leave his head open so he can speak, but unless you do want to just cover his mouth. But
No speaking other. He can breathe.
Listen, okay.
Would I be able to get his pistol and his assault rifle?
Yeah, you can take those.
Cool.
They both do 1d6 damage. The assault rifle has +1 damage, and the pistol is silenced. Listen. Behind my collar, just back of my neck, you'll find a small piece of paper. All of us here will have one. Just take that as a sign of good faith. You don't need to kill me. Those will be important later. You'll see. They're passwords. Every one of us has a different one.
All right, and take his password paper.
All right. So you find on it a piece of it's a piece of paper, and it has the word password written, and then after that, paradise in all caps.
All right, I'll hand it to Fade Out. You're wearing the uniform.
All right, cool. Is there like a little pocket for it, or is it just on the back of?
He just put it into the kind of just stuffed it down behind his collar.
Okay, well, I will put it there then.
All right. So there's another door leading out of here. Otherwise, this room appears to be mostly storage. You can see like a wine rack and a bunch of crates full of different kinds of very fancy foods. And this room is clearly basically kept at refrigerator levels.
Wasn't kidding about the fridge. Let's move on.
Does the door appear trapped or anything?
I'll say, even without rolling, I'll just give you that. Now that you've seen where the bomb was in the doorframe before, and you just look up at that part of the doorframe before opening it, you can see it appears that this one is trapped as well, yeah. Listen, all these doors, they'll explode like the one you came through unless you have one of our bracelets here. Take mine.
All right, I will take his bracelet.
All right. So, once you get close to the door with the bracelet on, like the outer frame of the door will light up like a green light, and then the door will slide open on its own without you even having to touch it.
All right, what's in the next car?
All right. So the next car would be the one that had the gun mounted on top. Do you want to enter this one in any special way, or are you just going to walk in?
I'm gonna try to spider stick to the ceiling and scurry through up there to try and be not where they're expecting to look.
Okay. Trying to take him by surprise a little bit.
I would definitely just walk in and try to play it off as I heard you guys firing. Is everything okay in here?
Okay, so you walk in from the previous room. Maybe you, I guess maybe you might have a balaclava on as well as all these guys do. So yeah, you walk into the room, and you see in here, there are 2 dudes in heavy armor and 3 dudes in the same kind of armor, the like just lightweight, like suit. That the previous guy you saw in the last room was like. Those are the dudes in heavy armor. It almost looks like power armor or some shit. It's pretty crazy. These guys have like grenade launchers. They're super heavily armed. But the more lightweight guys, there's 3 of those, and there's 2 of the heavy guys. So, and as you walk in, it's clear that this is like a barracks car. There are like weapons stashed all over the place and weapon racks along the sides of the room. You can see a staircase that leads up to where that mounted light machine gun was, and so on and so forth. But the dudes in here, I'll say for now, host, you have not gotten spotted, but they have definitely heard from you, Fade Out. So go ahead and roll to try and talk your way in, essentially.
All right, cool. Do I add tactical to that?
I don't know if tactical would. I feel like tactical is one we have to take care of because it shouldn't just apply to every role, right?
Yeah.
I would say creative, given
Yeah.
Midnight had a bonus to that from a social skill in particular.
Yeah, I think creative would make a lot of sense. There's
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So I rolled an 8, which is a partial success.
That is a partial success. Okay, so you walk in, and they're like, "You heard shooting? Is the soundproofing starting to fail? Do we need to get maintenance to check that?" We don't want any of our guests to hear any of the violence of us warding off their would-be assailants.
Oh yeah, true. And I thought the soundproofing was from this car forwards.
Nope, it's all the cars. All of them are just kind of
Alright.
standing and looking at you like they haven't fully accepted you, but they're still just bantering with you to see where this goes, because, like, they're not really sure what the situation is yet. You might need to do a little more convincing.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm kind of still a little new to this, and one of the ones that was just picked up for this job.
They put you on fridge duty?
Yeah,
Ha!
seems to be the one for the newbies.
Classic fridge duty. All right, you should probably get back to your post then. It's all good. We took care of him. Shot him down good. Saw the vehicle tumbling away a little bit ago.
Meanwhile, the crates and things of weapons and stuff.
Mhm.
Can I get close? Like, are they open? Can we see what's in them?
Yeah, to be a little more clear, they're more like those weapon racks you can quickly take weapons off of, like vertically stacked weapons that are it's kind of leaned up in the I don't know what you would call it. Like, they're not shelves, they're vertical, but yeah, the guns are clearly positioned so that people can really quickly run up and grab weapons to arm themselves as needed.
Okay. And how distracted are these guys by my counterpart? Can I get past them and try to start making a distraction on the other side of them?
I think, yeah, because you're climbing on the ceiling, that's not what they expect. I think you might have a chance here, but you're gonna have to roll for it if you want to get behind them.
Yeah. Just trying to keep to the ceiling and like the corners of the ceiling. Like, you don't see me.
Yeah, makes
I'm over
sense.
here. More die. 8.
All right. So an 8 is a mixed success.
Partial.
Yes. So, yes, you managed to sneak over there, but like just as you're putting yourself in position, one of them happens to turn around to like sneeze or something and just looks right at you. It's like, oh, pulls up his gun, and you're clearly spotted. You're no longer in stealth, but you still have an opportunity to act. Both of you do.
What type of weapons am I next to currently?
There are shotguns and assault rifles.
I'm gonna grab the nearest shotgun and start blasting and taking cover.
All right.
How close am I to the grenades?
I mean, you could grab a grenade. There are grenade launchers, I guess, around, if that's what you're looking for. Maybe I misspoke earlier, but...
Yeah, I mean, just something to pop at their feet and hopefully pop them.
Go for it.
I guess I'll roll for the shotgun.
Yeah, if you want to grab a shotgun, the shotguns do 1d6 plus 1 damage. They are pump actions.
That is a 8, another partial.
All right, so the guy who spotted you manages to pull out his pistol and quickly shoot as you kind of trade shots back and forth. So you go ahead and roll a d6 and add 1 for damage, and he'll roll his pistol's d6.
I rolled a 5, so that's 3.
All right, he rolled a 1, so you'll take 1 damage. Minimum, unfortunately for him. And 3 damage. Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say you rolled a 5?
It's 6 total, but it's half on a partial, right?
No, I was using that earlier because the consequence this time is he's shooting back. So
got it. Well, this is
you're
6
good.
damage then.
6 damage absolutely takes him out. So he manages to get off 1 shot with his pistol as you just take his head off with the shotgun and his body falls to the floor. So you take the 1 damage, and now you're clearly in active combat here. What are you doing? Fade out.
So I rolled to attempt to launch a grenade in the middle of this group.
Yeah.
I originally rolled a 6 and then used one of my war die, and I got an 11.
Okay, you use another war die. So you grab the grenade launcher off the wall, and it's like a breech-loaded grenade launcher. It takes you a little bit to reload it, but this one's already loaded on the wall because of course they are. So you just grab it and launch it immediately into the group. With your war die, that brought you up to a full success. So go ahead and roll 1d6 plus 2 damage.
1d6 plus 2. Oh my god, that's 3.
You rolled a 1 plus 2? Okay.
Yeah.
So it appears that most of them, they hear the sound of this grenade launcher going off, and they all immediately recognize it, and just, without even looking at where it came from, just dive in random directions. All of the athletic, nimble guys just kind of ninja their way in a random direction, and then the heavily armored guys just like... their power armor almost closes up a little bit, like they turn and just face the explosion and like tank in place. And it doesn't appear any of them got hurt very bad, just a little bit. But you did get a full success, so none of them quite have the initiative yet. Back to host. What are you doing?
I will be firing at whichever nimble guy is closest to me.
All right.
That's a 7.
All right. So on a 7, that's a mixed success. The nimble guy dove past you after dodging the grenade launcher. So he lands on the ground nearby, and before he can quite scramble up, you take a shot at him. Go ahead and roll damage. So that'll be a d6 plus 1.
5 total.
All right. Absolutely destroyed him as well. Maybe just in the chest. He gets like blown down into the floor and just completely stops moving. But one of the heavy guys is then going to turn his grenade launcher on you. So he's going to roll that damage now. I rolled the minimum 3 damage. But he fires the grenade at you as you are shooting at one of his allies. But the ally's already dead. Oh
Because
no!
I'd taken 2 from the explosion before. I took 1 from Guy, and that was 3 more.
R.I.P. Host. Host gets exploded. The grenade lands at your feet and explodes, sending Host up into the ceiling, sticking to the ceiling like Spider-Man would, but not in the normal Spider-Man way, unfortunately. And so you are left alone against the remaining 3 people in this vehicle, in this car of the train. Fade out. You've lost 2 allies already. What do you want to do to face these 3 guys? There's 2 heavily armored guys and 1 nimble guy.
I guess I'm going to attempt to shoot one of the nimble guys because we're probably going to have to deal with them at some point. And I'm going to use my assault rifle, which you said has a +1 to hit.
It's a +1 damage. Yeah.
Oh, +1 damage. So
yeah,
that's a
and you
10
can. I
to hit
think
the nimble guy.
tactical makes a lot of sense for an assault rifle, but so that's fine. Either way, you got a 10, so excellent.
Oh, well, with the tactical, I got 11.
Excellent. So you got that. We'll go ahead and roll damage. 1d6 plus 1.
That's 3 damage. Oh my god.
Not great. You fire a couple bullets into his chest, but he's wearing like a Kevlar vest. The rest of your spray just completely misses him, and he clearly that hurt a lot. He's probably got broken ribs and shit, but it appears to have saved his life, and he's still up. He gets his weapon ready, but again, no one's acting quite fast enough here. But I will say, even though you got a full success there, you are against 3 people here. So I'm going to say that the remaining guy who has not acted at all yet, the other heavy, is going to take his shotgun and aim it at you.
Mm-hmm.
So he is going to... you can roll to avoid this one, is technically how that'll work. I've rolled damage already, so I know what the number is, but you can roll to try and get out of the way, or maybe counterattack or something.
So I rolled a 7.
Okay, so that... do you want to like counterattack, basically, or did you want to just dodge?
I'm gonna use...
What's more important to you here?
They are heavily armored, so I'm definitely gonna try to dodge.
Okay, so you try to dodge out of the way, and I will say, in dodging, you drop that grenade launcher. That's the consequence, but you do manage to just suddenly throw yourself in a direction you didn't expect, and he fires the shotgun where you were. Not quite like you dodged bullets, but you just acted faster than he could react. And so he's still trying to catch up to you with the shotgun, and you had to throw the grenade launcher away. But you are out of harm's way for the moment, as everyone else is still trying to pick themselves up. And let's see how this new agent comes into the fold. Let's see. You are a mutant, Stucco.
Yes.
In exchange for great power, you have a terrible weakness.
Yes, I'm weak to meteoric iron.
Excellent. You have a lot of HP. That's crazy.
Yeah, so mutant has made me this weirdly allergic to iron for this particular mission.
Interesting. Okay. I just love how much of a tank you are, though. We hear a Wilhelm scream as the dude who is stationed in the turret up above gets thrown off the train by this absolute tank of a mutant, who then starts climbing down the stairs, and hearing the gunfire within. What are you doing?
9 feet tall.
9 feet tall. Let's go. Hunching inside the train car.
Yeah, 9 feet tall and dragging behind him, just like kind of what is it? What do they call it? Dragging part of an I-beam behind him and just swings it heavily at one of the armored guys. Just saying, knock, knock.
Absolutely. So go ahead and roll. I assume... I don't think you have forceful, actually, but I guess it'll just be a base roll then.
Yeah, it's a base roll. Oh, that's a good roll. That's a 9.
Okay. Yeah, 9 is a partial success. So I will say you swing this thing at the heavy guy. You don't do any damage with this. Instead, because of the partial success, you just knock the shotgun out of his hands. It goes clattering to the floor. The other heavy's still reloading his grenade launcher. So now the only threat is the last nimble guy, the more ninja-like dude who's got a pistol, and he is ready to fire that at you. So you can try to roll to avoid this, or he's just going to do some damage. Maybe you want to counterattack instead, potentially tank the damage on a mixed success. Got some options here.
I'm gonna throw my I-beam at him.
Just yeet it. All right, some counterattack. Let's see what you roll.
Oh shit, that's 2 6s.
Oh, that's a critical. Okay, that is an ultra success, as they call it in this game. So you take this I-beam, you yeet it at him, and this is now the second guard here stationed on this train to have his head taken completely off by a weapon thrown or fired by you. He stands there with his pistol held out for a second without a head, and then his arm drops, and then his whole body collapses to the floor afterwards. And the two heavies are still scrambling for their weapons. What are you doing, Fade Out?
So I probably would have had to drop the grenade launcher.
Yes.
So in evading, would it be the assault rifle that I dropped?
Oh, I see what you're saying. You dropped it to get the assault rifle. Yeah, so you dropped whatever weapon you had. That was the consequence before.
Okay, yeah. So I would probably pull out my pistol and attempt to shoot hopefully the neck. I feel like that's usually one of the exposed spots in heavy armor, but...
Yeah, to let the head articulate? Okay, go for it.
That's an 8. I'm going to use one of my war dice. I'm down to 1. That's a 12!
Nice! Okay. So with a full success then, you take the pistol, go ahead and roll damage.
It's 1d6, correct?
Just for the pistol is 1d6, yeah.
It's a 2.
Unfortunate. You aim for the neck, but you're hoping that's like a normal weak point in this kind of armor. But unfortunately, Talaria was thinking one step ahead, and they made sure to reinforce the neck. So you fire, and the bullet just glances off the armor to no effect. So I think we'll send it back to Stucco then. That guard now picks up his shotgun and he's ready, and the other guard has finished reloading his grenade launcher. So they're ready for damage again, but they haven't quite pulled the trigger yet.
Yep. Stucco's gonna rush the close one and try to bodily kind of pick up, lift, and throw him into the other one.
All right. That definitely sounds like a roll. Let's see what you do.
That's a 8 partial.
An 8. Okay. So you run up to this guy with the shotgun, and I think he is going to get the shotgun to fire against you because he can just aim that shit wildly and pull the trigger. But you do manage to pick him up after he shoots you because you're such a tank. So I'll roll damage for that. And then you throw him against the other guy. Go ahead and roll a d6 for damage.
I rolled minimum.
Okay, so they clatter against each other and they both fall to the floor and they're not mobile anymore. They're trying to get up and that heavy armor is kind of difficult and they're kind of scrambling. But you take 3 points of damage.
All right, and just laughs.
All right. The other one with the grenade launcher is on the floor and he's just going to see this tank take a fucking shotgun blast to the gut and just not give a shit. So he's going to aim the grenade launcher at you. So you can try to avoid it, block it, whatever you want to do if you wish.
He's going to try and swat the grenade out of the air as it flies towards him.
Excellent.
Just be as menacing as possible. That one's a 4. That doesn't work.
Okay. You go to swat the grenade and it just explodes on impact. So you just get a nice explosion in your hand. Just boom. So you're going to take 4 damage. I rolled a little higher.
Okay.
So the grenade explodes in your hand. But you're still up. You're still standing. You got a lot of hit points left.
I've taken enough damage to kill a normal man.
Yes. So fade out. What are you doing as you witness Stucco just tank multiple very lethal blows?
So now that they are both in the corner of the train, I'm going to, I guess, try to pick up another grenade launcher and try that again.
Okay.
To hit both of them. And that's a 3.
Ooh, okay. So you go to grab the grenade launcher, and I think in your haste to try and grab it and fire it all at the same time, you just fire it a little too early. The safety wasn't on, it's just a whole situation. These guards appear to be pretty just gung-ho about their weapons and not particularly safe with them. So you pick up this grenade launcher and you just fire the grenade and you see it land at your feet, and you only have like the split-second moment before it explodes. I'm sorry, I think in active combat, if you fail a roll, you're pretty much going to take damage. So I'm going to roll that damage. 4 damage, not the worst grenade launcher roll ever.
That is exactly my health.
Oh, no. Okay. So poor Fade Out, who has lasted so long through 3 cars of this train, fumbles the grenade launcher, lands the grenade at his feet, maybe gives a quick salute just before he explodes and becomes red mist.
Before he fades out.
Yes, before he fades out. True to his name. So go ahead and roll up a new character while we have Stucco continue this combat.
Yeah. So Stucco, because he's got these 2 guys in a heap, is going to reach into his he's going to reach into his loincloth. He's wearing a loincloth, by the way. He's going to reach into his loincloth and produce a toxic grenade, pull the pin, and just drop it on the 2 heavies in a heap, and charge across the car back towards his I-beam.
Excellent. Is the toxic grenade something you're immune to as a mutant, or is that just...
It's just a thing that I have.
All right. So you just drop the toxic grenade and you rush back across. Go ahead and give me a roll. See if you can avoid... Maybe this is like not so much in avoiding the toxin as much as it is just like heavy constitution, just not giving a shit about the toxin. Let's see.
That's a 9.
Okay, a mixed success. You'll take half damage. The heavies will take full damage. Okay. So let's see how much you do.
It's D6 plus 2.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a total of 6.
A total of 6. Okay. I'm gonna roll that the heavies have an armor rating of 2, which would normally reduce damage by 2. But they don't have time to put their gas masks on. And you now notice, having thrown this toxic grenade, that all of the guards here have gas masks. They're not wearing them constantly, but they're all just like part of their equipment they can quickly pull up. You see them scrambling to get it over their face as the toxin has already made its way into their lungs, and you just watch them writhe back and forth on the floor, having a very, very painful death. And that is all the enemies in this room. How does Cleaver make it into this room? Deployment went wrong somehow.
Does he walk into the poison cloud?
Maybe you walk into the poison cloud. I won't make you take full damage for it, but that's something. You also have an Achilles. That is crazy luck considering the hundreds of traits there are in this game. I believe it is I guess it's a D666 table, so it's not actually 600, but it's a lot. Yeah. So how do you get in here? Is it just some of the poison gas that gets to you when you walk in? Do you like teleport in? Something like that? Like, what does this character seem like?
I feel like it would be kind of funny for it to have been one of the people that was just on the train, and he knew that there was a fist thing happening, so he just kind of walks to the back of the train and opens the door, and he will probably walk into the poison cloud.
Maybe not a guard then, but like a waiter or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that stuff's going on, and so you happen to walk back here to see how things are going, and you just get a nice big whiff of that poison cloud. So you'll take 3 damage as you walk in here, unfortunately.
Also rolled 5 war dice again.
Excellent.
That's so powerful, man.
That's I guess that's debater. I don't know. A debater ability you've got. It looks pretty powerful too. The ability to just spike someone's mind for 6 damage by convincing them is kind of fun. I saw another ability like that somewhere in the game that was like pedant or something, and it's like if you are technically correct, you heal 1 hit point. Like it's just there's a lot of funny little traits. But anyways, you're in the zone now. The poison gas is starting to dissipate, perhaps up through the staircase leading to that gun up above. But you did breathe in a little bit, and it's you made your eyes red, and you're breathing a little more rough, but you're alive.
So when Fade Out exploded, did the paper get destroyed with it, or is the paper still there?
We'll say for fun, no. The paper faded out, and the paper just kind of fell to the floor.
And we don't know that they carry passwords.
Well, this new character might. Cleaver might.
Would Fist not have like communications?
Unless you have something that gives you communications, no. Like
Okay.
you can set up the rendezvous signal, or if you have like a trait that gives you communication or something, or equipment. Otherwise, no. There's nothing by default. But I think it makes a lot of sense that Cleaver, being a plant and working here, would notice the passwords on the necks of these guards. So there's potentially 5 more here in this room.
Okay, I would attempt to collect them.
Two
Okay.
of them are probably pretty bloody,
That's fair.
given the removal of heads.
But you can probably still make them out. So you have Paradise. You also find Second Chance. All one word. Cliche. Midas. Bless You, one word, all caps. And Forefather. I believe that's 6. Yes.
Was that Midas, like Midas touch?
Yes.
Okay.
And I can repeat those if needed.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one am I missing?
Forefather, Cliche, Second Chance, Paradise, Midas, Bless You.
Forefather was the one I was missing.
There you go. You've got a bunch of passphrases now.
What are the passphrases for, small man?
It seems to be something that they need. Being a waiter, I was not fully informed on this, but they are important.
Right. Let's go.
I
And
feel
just-
like I didn't actually specify this, but I feel like it'd be funny if my weakness is salt being a waiter.
That would be super funny. Let's make it that. So, you notice you don't have a bracelet on when you entered this door, Cleaver, and the only reason you entered it at all, knowing, having worked on this train, that it would blow up otherwise, is that this door in particular is not bombed. And so you lead Stucco into the next car, the Gala car. Let's see, what's a good vibe for this? That works. So, in the Gala car, it's a scene much like the very first car that we, the audience, the characters, and the GM, the players and the GM saw, but none of the characters who saw the first car are alive. But anyways, it's very similar. There's a lot of chairs scattered throughout here. They're very well cushioned, like wooden chairs with like fancy cushions. There's lots of just fancy furniture everywhere. At the very far end of the room, there is an auctioneer who's again standing at a podium and is holding up some kind of golden idol in his hands, and he's just speaking about that to the crowd. And you see on all the chairs around the room are these very well-dressed patrons, whether they're in suits or like fancy dresses, or some of them are in like full military attire type stuff, like fancy badged military attire. And there are, all of them are, there's a weird effect around their heads, like almost like a pixelation filter, a mosaic filter over their entire heads. All of them are holding like auction bidding paddles, and each of them wears on their paddle, and as well as pinned to them somewhere visible, like near the shoulder, the symbol of some kind of monster or creature from Greek myth. You've got like a cyclops, a griffin, a siren, a minotaur, like on like that are all of the symbols here. And it's clear that everyone here is anonymous and is only going by these symbols, so that nobody knows who anyone is here. There are 8 of these people seated throughout the room. These are the surrogates that the dying man told you about, and he is one of them. You do not know who. In the room, there's also a waiter who is currently serving drinks from a bar, and a bartender also creating the drinks, and like I said, the auctioneer. You guys enter the room. The auctioneer was, as you entered, talking about this idol he has in his hand, the idol of agony, he's calling it. And this here we have is the idol of agony. It's quite an important oh, hello, we have late guests. Come in, welcome.
Are there extra seats?
Yep.
All right, I guess I will attempt to take one.
Yes, please take a seat. We will arrive at our destination shortly, and well, unfortunately, you guests being late, we don't have any
Where
more
are the
bidding
rest
paddles.
of the items? He just interrupts.
Excellent. Excuse you, we maintain an air of manners here, if you could refrain from interrupting. The rest of the items are in the vault.
His blood-stained I-beam. Where's the items?
I see. The vault, if you must know. But also, could the esteemed guests who were not late to the auction please take cover? We are going to give a live demonstration of what the Idol of Agony can do. And the idols...
He throws the
Yes, go for it. Yeah, go ahead and roll.
He just
and
throws the I-beam at the guy's arm holding the idol.
All right.
As soon as he starts to like make it sound like it does something.
Absolutely. So you throw that, and we'll see how fast you were with this roll. On a mixed success, it's probably going to be both happen.
Very nearly full success, but it's a 9.
So close. Okay, so he activates.
You want to throw me a war die?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go for a war die. That'll just make it a full success. It can't be a crit, so it becomes a full success. So he says, a live demonstration of what the Idol of Agony can... Wham! Straight into his arm, and the arm actually tears off of his body. Go ahead and roll a d6.
2.
All right. So you throw this thing out at him. His arm gets torn off. And this man, you can now see, like, as you had a second to sit and talk with him for just a few moments here, he is like unnaturally handsome. He's like perfectly symmetrical. His skin is flawless. There's just something weird about him. And as soon as this I-beam hits his arm and tears it off from the socket, blood doesn't come out, sparks do. And you can see that the arm gets torn away and reveals like a metal shoulder socket and like some wires and shit that are torn halfway out and are kind of shorting against each other. Suddenly, the bartender pulls a shotgun up from behind the bar as well. All of the guests take cover behind their chairs and things, and you all are in full combat. I'm going to give Cleaver an opportunity to act here, since Stucco just threw a thing.
Is it okay if I ask if I could have picked up a pistol? I know that's kind of retro gaming. If not, that's fine.
I think a pistol is fine. We can retroactively do that a little bit since you were in that room. That's fine. You grabbed a pistol.
Although, with my debater thing, I kind of want to point the pistol at the guy and say, "Sir, I don't think you want to do that," and try to talk him down from it a little bit.
Okay, I mean, you can try to roll for it. What kind of bonus do you have? I guess that would be creative, which you don't have a bonus to, right? So
Yeah.
You got war dice.
you did roll a bunch of war dice to start.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
That's a 5, so I'm going to use a war die.
All right.
And that's a 9.
Okay, a mixed success. So he also pulls out a pistol and aims that at you. He pulls out a Beretta, and the bartender he like gives a nod to the bartender, like, hold on a minute. Says, listen here, we are holding an auction and we are going to complete this process and you are not going to interrupt. No, I do not want violence in the Galakar. It is terribly difficult to clean up. But if you all just sit down and behave, we can continue this as normal and no one needs to get hurt. So you've kept him from violence, but you haven't convinced him to like completely stop. He's still like at a standoff with you, pointing a gun at you.
Okay. Is there any way we can pass and see what's in the next cars? We don't want violence either.
Of course not.
I'm all right. Stucco is rushing the robot-looking guy, like
All right.
just and leaping to try and land on what's the chest and just start pounding in on the head.
All right, so you go to move aggressively, and the bartender with the shotgun right next to you is definitely going to try and fire. So we'll see if you manage to get over there without consequences.
Yep.
And whenever it's my turn as well, I would fire on the bartender.
Okay, yeah, we'll get back to you. But I like the idea of Stucco kind of
just roll to
interrupting.
see how badly I'm hit, I'm guessing.
Yeah, more like you can kind of do both at once. If you get over there, like if you roll a mixed success or a failure, you're getting shot. But if you roll a full success, you'll get over there and hit him, right? Even if you roll a mixed success, you'll get over there and hit him. You'll just also take a shot on the way.
Ooh, that's a 10.
A 10. All right. So they pull out the shotgun, but you move through the crowd and they really don't want to hit any of the passengers here. So they avoid shooting you while you're moving through the crowd as you get to the auctioneer on the other side. And you just you tackle him to the floor and just start pounding into his chest. So roll it, let's do a d6. I like the idea that Stucco is just a big dude and just has big fists that are just ready for some damage.
That's a 5.
A 5, okay. The surface is incredibly hard. This guy's a robot, but you can still feel bits of the metal bending, parts of his armor buckling, and sparks fly as you pound into his chest harder and harder. Then he begins to kind of fritz and twitch a little bit, but he's not dead yet. And at this point, what are you doing, Cleaver? As you watch Stucco starting to bash into this robot, you still have a waiter in the room who appears like trying to look for an opportunity to do something, and there's a bartender with a shotgun who is turned away from Stucco, trying not to shoot into the crowd, and has pointed the shotgun more towards you, ready to fire.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna shoot at the bartender.
All right. Yeah, this is
attempt to.
So recently your coworker. Maybe you have a grudge against them.
That is a 9.
A 9, okay. So on a mixed success, you're both going to take damage. So he's going to roll 1d6 plus 1. You're just going to roll a 1d6, and you're both going to take some hits.
That is 6 damage.
Damn. He rolled 5 damage against you. That was a big trade.
Domed.
So, yeah. You do have some health, though, as Cleaver, right? You're pretty tough. Because you're...
oh, yeah.
Because of your Achilles.
That still leaves me at 4 damage, so I can at least take one more hit.
Boom! Maybe the shot just like hits you in the chest, and you're just like shotgun pellets just riddled throughout your chest, but you stagger backwards and just stand back up.
I think I would just kind of chuckle at him and say, I knew you wouldn't.
And then pow in the dome, and the bartender goes down. Back to Stucco. This robot dude is still trying to like wedge the pistol back up towards you to fire at you.
Okay. How close is the Idol of Agony?
On the ground behind him, maybe 5 or 6 feet.
All right, because I kind of want to just reach over, pick up the idol, and just start hitting the robot with the idol.
I like that. All right, so you grab the idol and just start beating him with it, and he just starts, like, between hits of the idol against his head, he just chokes out words like, "That's not how it's used." Like, clang, clang, clang. So go ahead and roll for that, and we'll see if you manage to hit the right angles to deal damage to this robot, and if he manages to get a shot.
No, that's a 4.
A 4. So you go to clang it against his head, but his head is clearly very reinforced, and he's still talking to you through the clang, so he can't be that affected. And he rolls 2 damage to shoot you in the gut with the small arm pistol. And I think with a full failure, he'll actually push his way up as well, like with this unnatural robot strength, much more strong than you would imagine a figure of the stature should be, due to him being a robot, pushes you off of him, this 9-foot man.
With one arm.
And yeah, he does. He like his limbs move in unnatural ways. Like he manages to get his legs under him, even though they're folded back under his spine, and just like up from there, things like that. It's a crazy display. But he gets up, pushes you off of him, and then like with his one hand, like adjusts his suit back into place a little bit. Like he's just got to be dapper at all times. And then points the pistol back at you. I'll leave it with Stucco for now. What do you do, having been pushed back onto your feet?
Pushed back onto my feet.
Yeah, I don't think he like flung you to the floor or anything. He just got up.
Yeah. Is my I-beam also nearby?
Yeah, right over next to the idol.
Yep. Idol didn't work. I-beam is my next.
You toss the idol aside.
Yep. And then just try and make a big old baseball swing.
All right, batter up.
That one whiffs too. I think I'm starting to bleed out.
He just, like, again, with this weird movements of this robot you don't expect from a humanoid figure, like his hips just rotate backwards at a 90-degree angle, and his body just goes down out of the way of the swing, and then he pops back up and just holds out the pistol again and shoots you. That's 4 more damage.
I have 1 hit point remaining.
Holy shit. All right, you're starting to bleed all over this fucking Galakar. What is Cleaver doing? You've taken out the barkeep. There's one more waiter who appears to be unarmed, but is like kind of hiding amongst the crowd of passengers, just kind of waiting for an opportunity, clearly looking back and forth at both of you. Or maybe looking for an opportunity to escape. You're not really sure.
To escape?
They're clearly looking back and forth at you, trying to be aware of the situation, but it doesn't appear they're armed. It's hard to tell if they're looking to do something aggressive or if they're just trying to escape. They're clearly just watching both of you, though.
Did I know them as a coworker?
Yeah.
Were they chill?
It's
they,
Jimmy.
Jimmy?
Jimmy was pretty
annoying?
chill. Nah, Jimmy was pretty chill.
All right, I will point my pistol at Jimmy and ask him what he's trying to do.
Listen, man, it's just a job. I'm not here because I want to be. They pay so good. It's the hazard pay, you know. You understand, right? Come on, you were here too.
You know anything about that robot?
I didn't even know he was a robot. Did you?
I didn't know. That's why I wanted to ask you. Well, if you're not going to get in our way, get out of here.
Fucking freaky shit. I'm never taking one of these jobs again. He runs to the back of the train. And meanwhile, Stucco, you are engaging in a kind of losing battle against this auctioneer here. What are you doing? You're starting to bleed out.
My weapon that was the idol failed me. My I-beam failed me. So we're back to just He's gonna try and grab the robot and slam him against the floor.
Hell yeah. All right. Give me that roll plus whatever you think is relevant.
I don't think I have anything that adds to it.
That's fair.
No.
Yeah, you're more of a tank than a damage dealer.
Yeah, I have -1 tactical is what I have.
I have a war die if you need it.
Let's see. That's a 7. That's a partial. So
That is a
I might
partial.
be going down in a blaze of glory, but
Do you want to add the war die to that, Cleaver?
Yeah.
All right, let's see if you
All right.
let's see if you
yeah.
stay
So
standing.
I have 7. Let's see if I get a 3.
50-50.
I got a 1.
No. Okay. So
These war dice are cursed tonight.
they can be, yeah. It is a funny part of dice probability that as you add more dice, it grows towards an average on average. So like, it is rare that it actually adds too much. But anyways, you do not get the full success here.
Yep.
So let's see. Yeah, you're gonna trade blows, I guess. It's just a mixed damage here. So you go to slam him against the floor. He's just gonna be firing the pistol. His processor going overboard on just trying to take down the threat, even if it kills him. Just a bloody slap fight here with one half using a gun. So go ahead and roll
Well, I
that
rolled a
d6
6 for damage.
Woo, nice. Okay.
So I think I tear him in half while getting shot in the chest.
Pretty much, yeah. Even with his armor, that is just enough to take him out at this point. This crazy android you've been fighting against, you tear him in half, and just like as he shoots you in the chest one more time, is as you finish tearing him in half, and the sparks fly, and he lands on the ground, and like twitches a few more times, and then the light just fades from his eyes as poor Stucco falls to his knees and slumps over.
Just rumbles out one final fist.
And is no more. Boom, lands on top of the android, partially at least. So, Cleaver, you're now alone in the room. Well, I
All
guess
right,
there's a lot of the guests here, but they're all just kind of cowering.
Yeah, I would run to the bar and pick up the shotgun and attempt to go into the next room.
All right, the next door out of this room on that side of the train is actually a huge steel door. And instead of the normal doors where like the bracelet appears to be the way to get in, there is a key card slot.
I will attempt to go to the robot and see if there's a key card.
You do indeed find a key card.
I will swipe the key card.
And I would assume you also grab the passwords off of all the dudes who are here.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I didn't think of it before, but Cleaver, you being on this train as an employee would have one of the passwords as well. So I'll give you the full list now. You've gotten Sherwood, Oblivion, Conqueror, and Gigantes. And I can repeat those if needed. But you now should have 10.
Believe I got it all. I'm gonna list them off for you. Paradise, Forefather, Second Chance, Cliche, Midas, Bless You, Sherwood, Oblivion, Conqueror, Gigantus.
That sounds right to me. If you have 10 of them, then you're good.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep.
All right. So how does Trashcan make his way in here as Cleaver is putting the key card in the vault door?
Trash can emerges like Oscar the Grouch from the waste bin behind the bar,
Excellent. Pop. You're out of there.
monologuing about all of this destruction and with all of these people in here. Reminds me of the city.
Excellent.
He just starts smoking a cigarette as if he's been there the whole time, and he's just like really winded.
Your character is inexplicably in grayscale, even though no one else is around.
Well, look at this. I'm a gladiator with noir and theatrics. This is insanity.
It's so good. One of the traits I saw that I loved is just you're a skeleton. Like that's the entire trait. Just you, like you can get some crazy stuff.
I remember there was one we got in our last campaign, and I was I had like a little red dress or something.
Yes, yeah. There's some crazy ones. So, anyways, you two are in the room. You pop the key card into the door. The door opens. You both walk through, instantly recognizing each other as fist allies somehow.
As
a
I'm
secret
doing-
handshake or something. Yes.
As we're doing that as well, I would also tell them all of the passwords in case I go down.
All right. So you got the list. So you enter into this room, and the door closes behind you, and it is unnaturally quiet in here. All of these rooms have been soundproofed, and you've been able to tell this especially because even though guns and explosions and stuff have been going on in previous rooms, nobody in the rooms higher up the train seemed to have heard it. And you couldn't hear the sound of the train on the tracks or anything like that. So all the rooms have been soundproofed, but this one, it's not just soundproof, it's silent. You think you could hear a pin drop in here, and if it did, it might give you a headache with the sudden sharp noise compared to the background silence. It's completely empty of any kind of furniture or decor. It's just got a bunch of glass display cases on one side, the left side of the room, with a terminal set up closest to you on your side of the train on that wall. And then on the other wall, the right wall, there are no glass cases, but there is what appears to be an extremely high-tech chest of some kind. Maybe about 6 or 7 feet long, maybe about 3 feet wide, and about 4 feet tall. Just this big box. Very high-tech. It's the very top of it is just like smooth, glassy material. Not see-through, but like very polished stone. Or very polished metal or something, and then just all sorts of wires and tubes and shit going up underneath the box into the bottom of it. The glass cases have items in them. There are 10 cases. Each one has 1 item in it.
I assume they all have a keypad?
There is 1 terminal that appears to connect to all of them.
Well, I'm just going to start punching in all the passwords.
So the terminal requires a number for the box you want to open and the password that you think goes to that box. You can read the contents of any box with a description on the terminal, and I can also give you a visual description on the thing, but yeah. They're all labeled through the terminal, basically. One of the boxes is empty.
Is that the one with the Mask of Despair?
Yes, the one that the box
Idol of Agony? Yeah.
Yeah, the box that was labeled Idol of Agony is currently empty. But there are 9 others.
Seeing the empty box, Trashkin's eyes widen, rushes back into the other room and checks for where's the idol.
It is just on the floor where it was thrown to the side.
All right, bags it, goes back in, just making sure nobody can point that thing at us, whatever it does.
Absolutely. In these boxes, I'll just give a visual description very quickly. There is a set of wooden teeth. There is a coin coffer. There's now the idol that you've bagged. There is a preserved brain. There is what appears to be a much larger box amongst all of them, is like a suit of some kind, like an exosuit, like a sort of large contraption that's been boxed up, and it's labeled the Titan apparatus. There is a set of syringes labeled the cure for the common cold. There is a goblet labeled the Goblet of Avarice. There is the mask, which you're probably looking for. It's labeled the Mask of Eden, and it looks like the picture I set to this this Discord channel's like cover picture, I guess. I don't know what to call it. But if you scroll all the way up, you'll find it. There is a mummified bird, and there is a extremely valuable looking diamond. It is so big, it hasn't even been given a name yet. People normally just say wow. So, you've got this terminal. It's got numbered boxes for you to type in passwords. Which box do you pick? I can tell you what's in each box, and you can tell me what password you want to put in. Whatever. How do you want to handle this? The terminal's yours.
I'm going to attempt to do box number 2, I guess.
So that is the coin coffer. What password do you put in?
Midas.
You type in the password, you hit enter. The box glows purple as a gem inside rises up from underneath the bottom of the box, like phasing through it. And then both the gem and the coin coffer in the box disappear, and a loud incorrect buzzer goes off.
In the bleak silence of this room, we typed in the password we thought was correct, but it was in fact wrong. What could be the possible connection between the boxes and the passwords? I'd like to try and deduce the password
Okay.
that we need for, let's say, the exosuit one.
Okay. I think creative makes a lot of sense, and you can use your noir +1.
Yes. So I have +2 on this.
1.
That's still only a partial, but it's a 9.
Okay. So on a partial, I'll just give you a hint rather than giving you the answer. You think about the list of passwords, and you notice that the terminal also has descriptions of each item. And if you want to learn like the lore about them or what the dude would say, the auctioneer. There you go. The auctioneer would like sell people on the items with these short descriptions. And you realize 10 passwords, 10 boxes. These passwords seemed pretty themed, and you would guess that whatever password goes to each box, there would probably be some kind of reference or similar theming to what's inside the box, so that people could remember what they are.
I honestly
If
didn't know what a
wasn't the
coin.
What else could it be?
Yeah, fair enough. I can go through the list again if you want.
Are you able to type the list into Discord?
That would be very helpful.
I can. It would just take me a minute. And we are on a timer.
Yeah.
A list of
Give me the list again.
a list of the items or the passwords.
Passwords.
Okay.
I'll
about
copy the
this?
passwords, list the
Okay.
items.
How about I just send you a screenshot of the whole items page, because I don't think there are spoilers on this page.
Sure.
Boom. That is the list of the descriptions you get from the terminal for each item, the physical description, and what is in each box.
And these are the passwords.
Thank you.
Midas might have actually been the goblet of avarice, turning everything to gold. It even says that the goblet turns anyone who touches it into gold, just like King Midas. Maybe we should have thought about that before.
Yeah, I heard I saw the word coin, so I thought Midas gold. I didn't look past that, so that's on me.
Let's see. He's gonna type in Conqueror for Alexander the Great's brain.
Okay. Conqueror for Alexander the Great's brain. Which box number is that?
That is number 4.
4. Okay. The box lights up green, and you hear a ding, 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 and the door swings open.
Gonna go over and take the brain.
All right.
put it
It's
in his
in like in a jar, preserved, just kind of floating.
Looking at the passwords, we can probably deduce that Sherwood was one for the ornate coin coffer. forefather is probably George Washington.
Yeah, let's try that one next then.
All right, you type in forefather for the George Washington's wooden teeth. Ding, ding, ding. Door swings open. You bag it.
All right, and then I guess Goblet of Avarice makes sense. Let's try Midas for that.
All right. Yeah, so you've done... okay, you haven't done that one yet, so yes. I got in Midas for the Goblet of Avarice. Ding, ding, ding. You bag it. Correct.
Let's try Click for the Carrot Diamond. Because
It's cliche. I think I spelled it wrong.
Yeah, it should be cliche,
okay.
yeah. Cliche for the diamond.
No.
Let's try Gigantus for the Titan apparatus.
That sounds possible.
All right. Do you want to lock that in?
Yes.
All right. Ding, ding, ding. Correct. Door swings open. You get out this suit. Probably a little too large to pocket, but you have it.
I'm gonna wear it.
All right. You put on the exosuit. As you're putting it on, it'll have to be Cleaver who does the next terminal entry. Well, because you're going to take time to put this on. But yeah, gives you a much bigger forceful score, and you can, atomically shift yourself up in size to be a very large noir gladiator.
And if only Stucco had gotten this.
That would have been awesome.
All right, number 6, Cure for the Common Cold. I'm going to try Bless You.
Okay. Ding, ding, ding. Correct. You get the cure for the common cold.
Try Oblivion for the dodo bird.
Sound. Are you sure we don't want to try a second chance for it?
You could try a second chance.
Because it says, while dead, its DNA might prove valuable or useful.
A second chance at life.
All right, so number 9, we'll try a second chance.
Correct. You pull out the mummified dodo bird's body. Again, a little too large to pocket necessarily, but you might be able to, put it over your back or something, like sling it or something. I don't know.
And it seems pretty obvious at this point, but paradise for the Mask of Eden.
You locking it in?
I'm
This
just
Oblivion
reading.
was probably the idol that summons power from a demon.
And then Sherwood is the coin coffer. Yeah, lock it in.
All right, Paradise for the Mask of Eden. Correct. The door swings open, the green lights flash, and you get the objective of your mission here was the Mask of Eden, which you were to bring to the dying man in order to secure your escape here. Is there any other boxes you haven't gotten yet?
And we'll put in cliche.
For the Carrot Diamond.
All right, cliche for the diamond is correct. So you pull out the massive diamond and pocket that. And you only lost one item, I think, right? Only the coin-filled coffer?
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good. Bunch of puzzle solvers. So you get the passwords complete. You only had one failure, so you're going to get out of this extremely rich. And you have acquired the Mask of Eden. There's one more door out of this room, which would lead you to the actual locomotive at this point, or you could head back into the gala car and try to figure out who the dying man is in there and secure your escape that way. What's your plan? Are you going to actually follow through on the deal and actually give this guy his mask, or are you going to try to make a getaway with the mask on your own and get even more filthy rich?
We have a diamond larger than anything ever before. I think we're rich. Give the dying man his mask. He might outlive us, but I'll have a good time.
Yeah, and I have this shotgun if he tries to betray us as well.
All right, so you're gonna head back into the Galakar then.
Yes.
So you enter into the Galakar, and all of the passengers are still like cowering, and it appears they're just kind of waiting. They know the train will stop soon. They're hoping that whoever you are, you're not dumb enough to harm any of them, and the train will stop soon. They'll all be able to go home, even if they didn't get to do any of their shopping here at the auction. It's better to at least live. So they're all just kind of cowering behind furniture. But you were given a secret hand sign, and also you hold up the Mask of Eden when you leave the vault. And one of the men in the room, who is wearing a fancy business suit and like a short-brimmed hat, stands up, and he does not unveil his mask, the pixelation filter that's over his face at the moment, and he doesn't speak either. But he waves you over, no longer cowering, no longer putting on an act that he's in danger.
All right. Walk over to him and hand him the mask.
He pulls out a pager, presses a couple buttons on it, and puts it away, and nods and holds up his hands. 5 minutes. He holds up. It just like holds up the number 5.
That is safer?
He shrugs and gestures to you like you might know better.
That's a good point.
I say let's go in the hold car, one back. Seems pretty well fortified.
There's lots of weapons in there too.
All right.
So you, Mr. Client, you can hang out upstairs, a little bit out of sight, just in case anything else comes through these doors.
He nods. He takes the mask from you to hold on to that himself. And I think he'll actually just immediately put it on. He'll just reach up and it goes into the pixelation filter. And he puts it on and he just breathes like... and he's now standing with like a taller posture. And he starts flexing and like cracking his joints and stuff, like clearly enjoying this feeling. And then heads back in the car, as you mentioned. And so, a few more minutes pass as a helicopter flies up behind the train. It was clearly somewhere nearby, perhaps just out of sight of the train's sensors, strategically, in order to pick you all up from the top of the train. And since you've defeated all of the guards that you've encountered so far, and all of the train cars are completely silenced, a feature that the guests appreciate, but is an unfortunate security flaw in this otherwise crazy fortress of a train. The two of you climb out of the train, helping your client climb up onto the flimsy rope ladder dangling from the helicopter and escape. And we see as you are brought out of the as you're flown away, the train passes into a tunnel nearby, out of sight. You are each handed a briefcase that you pop open, and like it's just full of stacks of cash. You are each handed one of these briefcases. And
pleasure doing business with you.
He just nods. He still is not giving you his face or his voice, which is definitely strange. You did get an audio recording earlier, but there might be something strange going on here, but you've been paid. And you got a lot of other artifacts to sell as well. So, since we have a couple minutes left, do your characters retire with this money? Do they become even bigger mercenaries? Well, what goes on? Like, let's start with Cleaver.
I feel like he would definitely try to still be a spy.
All right. So you're
Try to like convince people of stuff and bring down regimes and start new governments and all that stuff.
invest all that money
Shadow.
in a bunch of safe houses and shit all around to have resources. Stuff. Yeah. What about I'm forgetting your name now. Trash Can, of course.
Trash can, fortunately for his gladiator aspect, was wearing the Titan apparatus at the end of this. So he's going to keep fighting.
Absolutely.
And just being an absolute theatrical menace on the noir battlefields of Night City.
Excellent.
Or something.
yeah, exactly.
Nighttime series, not be cyberpunk.
Yes. So both of you take all this vast, incredible riches you got out of the situation with, and you just invest it more into doing what you have already chosen to do for your lives, and see much extra success and glory from this until the next mission you go on, perhaps. But that's where we'll leave it for tonight. You managed to complete it under the time limit, and therefore avoided quite a hell of a lot of consequences that could have happened. So congratulations on that.
And when you said, when the auctioneer was like, yeah, take a seat and we'll talk, I'm like, nope, throwing things. We don't have time.
I love it. That was good. I liked that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Mission.
I am surprised that a few of those characters lived as long as they did.
Yeah, it can be kind of swingy. Sometimes you just die in one hit, and sometimes you just get lucky.
Sometimes your shark man doesn't even make it on the train.
I rolled 12 damage. So bad.
It's used as a fucking cinder block.
It's so funny. You go up there, you're so confident you're just going to shoot this turret down, and then he just gets absolutely wrecked. The complete opposite.
Yeah, not only did I miss, I got turned into red mist.
Yes. So just to reveal some things, because I think they're fun, before we completely depart here. That big box you saw in the vault room was essentially a boss that would trigger if you entered 3 incorrect passwords, which is kind of fun. Or if the timer was up, he would come out, and he was that would have been pretty nifty, but also extremely lethal. And that area would be considered like a what do you call it in like Destiny, like the no respawn zones,
like a darkness zone.
Yeah, like a darkness zone. So in that zone, because the vault is such high security, you guys wouldn't actually get emergency insertions. So an extremely lethal boss fight could have been the end of it, but you're clever with the passwords. You got through it easily enough, and no issues, and also fast enough. Because if the timer ran out, then he would also wake up as just like part of the procedure for getting ready to unload the train and stuff. So that is crazy, but hey, just in time, honestly. You didn't have too much time left.
I was watching the clock the whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
This actually recommends you just get like an actual timer and like put it in front of people. A little harder to do online like this, but hey, we've all got clocks on our computers.
Yeah.
Still pretty good. Hell yeah. I liked thank you. Yeah, thank you for playing. I liked the timer aspect, adding a little pressure. It was cool. Yeah, so I'll catch you guys all later. Thank you for playing again.
Yeah, thank you for running.
See y'all next time.